Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today is a very special day. It's a video that many of you guys have asked for us to do and a topic you asked for us to discuss. I'm here with my little sister Tanisha. She's inside. We're going to be talking about something that we went through together from very different perspectives. Hers and mine were very different even though we were in it together. So I hope that whatever it is that we share with you guys, you're able to use, you're able to learn from, you're able to grow and heal forward in your own journeys, whatever it is that you might be going through, struggling with, all of that. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, comment, and hit that notification button so that if you like the video and the content that we're going to be discussing today, you're able to be a part of the future videos. I wanted to welcome and introduce my little sister Tanisha.
Hello, nice to meet everyone.
Thanks for coming, sis. So the context of the conversation today is something very real to us and something very deep. If you guys have a hard time talking about these type of subjects, then you could definitely click off. But I hope that you're able to see it through so that we can enlighten you with some of the things that we did to deal with our journey and our healing process. All right, so how we're going to do this video today is I'm going to ask my sister different questions, or she'll ask me different questions, and we'll answer it from our perspective and our journey of the things that we have gone through. And what we're going to start with, actually, let's start with a little breakdown of what it is that we're actually talking about, and then we'll go from there. So you want to start? Or I'll start?
You start.
Okay, I'll start. All right, so both me and my sister are childhood sexual abuse survivors. We went through the judicial system, criminal justice system, as victims, and we had to testify in court against our perpetrator, who was our father.
Right.
So we have had to do a lot of growing, a lot of healing, a lot of revamping, and trying to stay encouraged and trying to come out of this in a different light. So we want to share some of what we went through with you guys in case there's somebody out there that has gone through something similar, might know somebody who's going through it, that might need to feel encouraged or feel like there's somebody who's, in their corner or understands what they're going through.
Yeah. I think that we're really doing this so that we can, like she said, to help other people, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with a situation that's similar and they just don't have anyone to turn to. And that's why I really respect YouTube and YouTubers like you, because it allows people to feel like they have someone that they can, confide in a way and relate to. So that really does help people
100%.
with their healing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it's important too, because not everybody has somebody in their home or, a close friend or family member. Yeah. Not everyone can afford counseling or therapy. And, they deal with this in silence. They deal with things that have happened to them, even if it wasn't their fault, by themselves. And then they carry that with them, and that transpires into other relationships and dynamics in their life or job opportunities or whatever the case is. Yeah. So it's important for people to know that even though you've gone through something like this, it doesn't have to define you. You can definitely come out on top.
Oh, yeah,
it's just recognizing and understanding, it happened and it is what it is, and
you move forward.
Exactly, move forward. So we always say on this channel, because she doesn't know, so I'll explain to her. So on this channel, we're all about growing and healing forward. So that's why we're also sharing this, our story today. And I hope that you guys can resonate with it. I hope you guys take something from it. Yeah, that's it. Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool. So first question is, why did you press charges?
Okay, so my perspective on this question is going to be a little bit different than hers, but I think at the time, how old was I when we pressed charges? Like 12?
I was 8. Yeah, I was 18. So you're like 13.
Yeah. So the reason why personally I went through with it is because her mom actually contacted my mom and told her about everything that had happened. I guess Autumn had confided in her, and her mom came to my mom. And then, but before she even came to my mom, she actually contacted me and was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to press charges on your dad for whatever he did to the both of you. And I was avoiding it at all costs. I was just super, super scared. And then eventually I kept stalling. And her mom went to my mom, wrote a long Facebook message, and told her everything that had happened. And then at that point, my mom moved forward with the process. So that's really why I got tied into it.
Because of me.
Yeah, which was honestly the best thing. But as a child, you know, you get scared and all these crazy thoughts come up in your mind on why you don't want to. But
I also just wanted to add in on your part that even if she decided not to press charges and it was me only pressing charges, the way Canadian law works is that because I had already said that this happened to her and like I was a witness to certain things about her situation, she would have been brought into it either way.
Either way, yeah.
So there's not like you have an option
Of
not doing it. Yeah. So the reason that I pressed charges was because of my mom basically giving me that as an option. Prior to me telling my mom what had happened, I had drastically changed in my behavior, my mood, my emotional regulation. I was tired all the time. I was depressed. I wasn't talking to my mom that often. I wasn't getting along with my other sister. And my mom started noticing the changes in me. And so she had mentioned it and asked me if anything was wrong. And I was just like, no, nothing's wrong. I think that was what I first said. I said, no, nothing's wrong because I didn't want to say anything. And then it was like later in the day, I went to her room and I was like, my dad did to me what he did to my older sister. Because I already knew about what he had did to my older sister. And then she was like, not out of like wanting to make me feel away, but I feel like she just didn't know what to say. So she's like, okay, just get out of my room for a second. Like, I just need a second. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot for her. But I think I felt like I did something wrong.
But your mom instantly knew what you were talking about? Like, she knew about what happened?
Yeah, because she knew what happened. She knew about what happened to Keisha. Mm-hmm. So,
dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then she said, okay, these are your options. You don't have to say anything. But if you want to say something, like, I love you either way. I'm here for you either way. We can call our CMP because at the time I was in BC.
Oh, okay.
And
she was upset though, right?
Yeah, she was really upset actually. Like really upset.
How upset she was.
Yeah, she was really upset. I just remember her being like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
Mom.
I'm gonna kill him."
My mom didn't know what she was reading. I remember I came into my mom's bedroom right after she had read the email. She was like, "Tanisha, get in here right now." And I was like, "What?" And as soon as she said that to me, for some reason I knew. I'm like, Tara done went to my mom. I knew it. I just knew it. So I walked into the room. My mom's sitting there. She's like reading the email and she's like wide-eyed. She didn't know what to do, what to say.
Yeah.
And she was like, is this true? Why is Tara messaging me this? And da-da-da. So my mom just kept saying, she's like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill that bastard. I'm going to kill him. Like,
yeah, as I think any mother or parent would.
Yeah.
That's, a loving parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I pressed charges, and then it brought her into it, and it brought my other sister into it. Our other sister. Okay. Mm-hmm. Number 2.
Okay, so number 2, what was the process like?
Process of court?
Yeah, I guess the full process.
Okay, so for me, I guess it's perfect that you're asking me this question too, because it started with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so the process for me was after I decided I wanted to press charges, the RCMP were contacted. They came and took a statement. After they took a statement, I guess that's when they also got statements from you guys. Mm-hmm. And then once they decide that there's enough evidence to move forward with charges, they press charges, like they go arrest him. Yeah. And then from that point, they assign a detective that's like within that unit of investigation. I guess it's like sexual crimes or whatever it's called. So the detective is now assigned, so they're in touch with you about back and forth info. And then a Crown attorney, which is working for the country, basically, the prosecutors, they are assigned to the case. And once they're assigned, they are in touch with you if they need additional information, additional evidence, victim impact statements, all of that kind of stuff. And then I believe we went to preliminaries, which was like a year after we had said anything. So it takes a long time.
Yeah. To gather all that information evidence?
Yeah, so after the preliminaries, then they, at the preliminaries, they basically decide, is there enough evidence to move forward to trial, or is there not? They decided that there was. So then we went through the process of waiting for the actual trial, and I feel like that was a lot more intense. I don't know about you, but I just felt like, I don't know, like they gave us our packages to like review and like make sure we knew what we said in the first court dates or whatever. And then I remember meeting that room that we had to stay in the court, meeting the victim support worker. And
She's nice.
Yeah, she was nice. I forget her name. But it was just very like, I felt like a lot of pressure.
There was so
much pressure. Like, and then you're like, oh, am I saying something wrong? Like, even though you're telling the truth, the entire court process as you're testifying, you feel like, am I saying something I'm not supposed to be saying right now? Is that what
forgetting something?
Yeah, am I forgetting something? Or did I say it wrong? Now they're not going to believe me. Yeah. Like, you're just consistently questioning yourself. And
especially when they try to like prepare you for the actual trial, they tell you, they're like, his defense lawyer is going to try to, make you sound like you're contradicting yourself, right?
Yeah.
And to like, for us to even understand that at such a young age, like, you were pretty young.
I was pretty young too, yeah.
To even contemplate that, it's like, okay, I could be up there and I know that what I'm saying is the truth. What I've told my crown is the truth, but they're gonna try to, make it seem like I'm lying. There were so many incidences too where I was on trial or whatever, on the stand, giving my testimony, and I was like getting into it with the defense attorney. I don't know if you remember, but like I was giving her attitude and stuff because she was making it seem like I was lying. What do I have? But it's her job, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't think we were allowed in each other's thing. That's why I wouldn't have known. Because, like,
True.
When you're going through the court process, like, even though we were going through it together, they don't allow us to, like, sit in and listen to what each other said because they don't want it to be, like, corroborated or whatever. Like, to make sure that we're...
I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, telling the truth. So that was my insight. What's yours? Oh, I also had to testify and face him.
I was just
You
going to bring that up because I don't know why you didn't want to get the thing.
They wouldn't let me.
Why?
Because I was 18.
Oh.
So they only allowed her to have the option of not seeing him, and I had to sit there and like look at him, and he was like smirking and laughing, and
I couldn't have dealt with that. Like, I was too scared. I was so afraid of him. I was so timid. So that was a big thing too, because I think it's so like I can't really remember a lot, but I remember there was maybe one day that I went to go give my testimony, and they had me in like a completely separate room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the judge was talking to me through like a mic, and like I could see everything on a TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another day I had gone, I think afterwards, and they gave me the option to have like a screen in front of me. I was still in the courtroom and he was still there. I couldn't see him, but he could see me. That's how that worked. So obviously I took it, and I was so scared. Like, so that process for me, it was very frightening. It was a lot of pressure.
Definitely.
So.
Okay, so let's do number 3. So we said it already. How long did it take to start the court process? So like to start it was like a year, and then like it was like another year or 2 years to do the trials. So like in total 1 to 3 years to finish court. Yeah. It's quite a long time because I told my mom in 2008, and then we didn't go to court until 2009.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't fully done until 2011.
Yeah.
So, a lot of time.
A long time.
Want to ask me 4?
Number 4, what was the hardest part for you going through the court process?
Honestly, the hardest part for me, because I was the initiator of these charges, was being made to feel like it all happened and we were where we were because of me. Like, they literally tried to use like my sisters against me. They tried to use like my own character against me. They tried to say like, because I was jealous of my sister, I made her lie about my father. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And I feel like that all carried on until like afterwards, of like my self-esteem after and like how I felt about myself. What about you?
For me, I think the hardest part was, Are we talking about the court process alone, or just
Yeah.
like, yeah? Okay, so the court process. The hardest part for me was probably just testifying and having to talk about all of the details, right? Because they want to know everything.
Yeah.
Your crown wants to know everything, like all the little stuff that you try to suppress and forget. You have to talk about. So I think that was the hardest part. And then of course, like saying it in front of so many people, including him.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Okay, so in what ways were you affected by what happened and court?
So many ways. So I started having going through depression right after like the first incident. I feel like because it happened to me so young, it really started messing with how I viewed men in general, and then how I would see men interacting with their children.
Mm-hmm.
Even till this day, I feel like seeing a healthy relationship with a man and his daughter,
You question it.
I question it so hard. Like, there are certain things that you would think is not normal from where we're sitting, but really it is normal in a healthy dynamic, that sort of relationship. So I went through depression, for sure, anxiety like crazy. I couldn't trust people for a really long time, especially men. And anyone that resembled him would scare me. So that's just a little bit amongst so many other issues that I had. What about you?
So I definitely agree, especially about like you've seen people that look like him and you're scared, because it's like that's the PTSD. Like you get like all of those like flight or fight responses your body feels like when we were dealing with him and living with him.
Yeah.
Like you feel that even if it's just a person walking down the street, you feel like fearful. You immediately like start arching your back like a dog, and like it's crazy. But definitely me, like it's an ongoing battle for me. I've dealt with my depression on a huge scale. Definitely suicidal ideation, attempted suicide multiple times. Dealing with my mental health and accepting that I have mental health difficulties, challenges, issues, whatever you want to call it. But I think that also, like, it took a really long time to, like, understand myself. Like, to, like, know who I am as Autumn. Because I feel like I was so traumatized in childhood that I didn't know who I was. Like, I didn't know what normal responses to someone saying this to you is, or what normal responses to the person doing this. So I needed a lot of work in order to heal, and it had to start within me. And it's scary because, like, a lot of the abuse, not even just the sexual abuse, but like the physical and emotional and mental abuse from him was about how low I was, how shit I was, how undeserving I was, how I'm not worthy, how I'm never gonna find someone to love me.
The verbal abuse on her was crazy. Like, I've witnessed it a couple, like, I was there a few times, and it was crazy, especially at the age that you were at.
Especially 16, teenager,
15, like, that's the time that you need to be built up by your parents, especially.
Exactly. And as a woman, especially, by your father. So, like, I would say those are the main ways it affected me. I always say, though, it's weird to say this, but I always say it. I feel like I was more affected by the court process than I was the actual abuse.
Really? Why do you feel like that?
I feel like that because, like, he made me feel low, but then to hear strangers also not believing me and making me feel low.
Then you have the family not believing you, making you feel low.
Exactly. Like, so then it was like, okay, maybe I did deserve it. Maybe I am this person. Maybe I'm never going to be anything. Maybe, like, if he's not just saying it, there's people, like, reiterating it, then maybe that's what it is. So it definitely took a toll.
Makes you question yourself, too, right?
100%.
Which you shouldn't have.
100%.
Because if it wasn't for you saying something to your mom, who knows if we would have ever
said anything,
spoken out about what happened to us.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the most freeing thing that I think we both experience, is actually speaking about it. And probably for Keisha too, even though she wasn't really a part of the process in that way.
Yeah,
right?
she was, but they had her, like, do video from a distance and stuff. But I just feel like she wasn't as involved in it as we had to be.
Yeah.
But also she hasn't been around as long
too,
because she kind of took herself out of it. So was it your turn or my turn? I can't remember.
I think it's my turn to ask you. So number 6, were you happy with the sentencing?
Absolutely not.
Seriously.
Like, what?
No.
Sentencing in Canada for these type of crimes is nothing, okay? Let me just say that.
First of all, he got the maximum time he could have gotten in Canada, which is like, what, 2 years?
He was supposed to get 4 years, 4 months, but because of time served, and he got, in Canada, they had this rule prior to them taking it away because it's no longer in the judicial system, but every day you get a day and a half. So pre-trial custody. So if you did a year, like 12 months prior to your trial, then you get on your time a year and 6 months off of your time.
Oh, wow.
So they gave him like so much time off of his time. He ended up getting like 2 years, 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
And then with good behavior and stuff, he probably had maybe 8 months. Like, that's me guessing. Because in Canada, they just don't see these crimes as anything. Like, you can literally sexually abuse your children, and yeah, we're gonna give you a slap on the wrist. He's had more time selling drugs than he's had touching his kids.
That's why it doesn't make
literally,
sense.
Like, he's done more time for selling drugs than touching his kids.
That's disgusting, and I have to agree. Like, I was definitely not happy. Still, I'm not happy.
And he's out. Well, questionably out. I don't know if he's out or not. We have no idea. But I know he was released from prison for our offenses. We don't know if he's gotten to more situations since, but that's where we're at.
So number 7.
Okay, so what is your healing process like?
Okay, so we were just talking about this too. Like, healing never fully stops at all. Like, you're always constantly healing every single day for various different things in your life. But for me, where it comes down to this, I don't think I've fully started my healing process with this until maybe like 2 years ago. I think that's when I fully started. And I think now I would say I'm like maybe 85 to 90% okay. Not okay, but like accepting of the situation that had happened. It existed in my past, and now I'm just moving forward. Obviously, there are still things that come up where it will trigger me. And I see a lot of that in my relationships with people. Like, certain things they might say might trigger me to like react in a certain way that I would have reacted back then, or just being like super angry about situations that I probably should just chill on or take a break from and walk away and come back to the situation later. So it's affected me a lot, but I feel like my healing process at this point is steady and it's progressive. Like, I feel like I'm getting better in terms of like my mental state, at least.
Yeah, I would agree.
So down on myself and like understanding that yes, it happened, but it wasn't my fault, and I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of my future. What do I want to be? How do I want to be? What type of friend do I want to be? You know? Don't let this affect you in that way. But it's hard.
Definitely.
What about you?
So again, like she said, my healing process has been like a roller coaster, like up and down. I feel like I'm good. Something happens. The biggest thing for me was to accept that I have bipolar disorder 2, type 2, and PTSD, and to get on medication so that when those waves come, I can better cope with them. Yeah. That's a huge thing for me, because when I was having the like depressive wave or episode, it would bring up things about our father that I felt like I was healed from, and I wasn't, clearly. But now that I'm on medication and I'm able to like recognize certain things about myself, it's been easier to overcome things that were affecting me a lot more before. I'm definitely getting better with my interpersonal relationships, because I've struggled like with friendships, my relationships with my family members, my relationships with my partner. And I think I'm getting better at communicating and like being open and not allowing that feeling of anxiety when you're faced with topics that you're not ready to talk about consume me.
What do you think, sorry to interrupt, but like what do you think got you to that point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna make a conscious effort now to think about the situation and view myself differently?
Honestly, I just feel like I want to say growth, because I don't want to say growth because that's vague, but that is what it is. It's growth, because like even when I look at 10 years ago,
right? Like, I had, like, Andrew was so supportive. I had him, but I still wasn't where I needed to be, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like now that I look back at it, it had nothing to do with who was around me and a lot to do with about myself. So I had to make the conscious decision to not allow him to have the power over me anymore. He's already taken power from me. Why am I going to continue to live my life when he's no longer even in my life, and have the power over me? That doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. Also, I feel like the experience with the court system caused me to feel like I was like in a victim blamey cycle.
Yeah.
So it was like I had to be sad. I had to be vulnerable. I had to be this abused victim in order for people to like understand me or believe me. Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything you still struggle with?
I still struggle with being able to cope with feelings of abandonment. And I also struggle with being like feelings of rejection are like two big triggers for me. But I feel like I've gotten so much better at them. But I know that when I have that sense of abandonment or feeling of it, I get that like bubbly, like my heart rate is pumping and everything feels warm inside of me feeling like when you're anxious.
Yeah.
So I know it's a struggle still. And lastly, I would probably say I struggle with like being open to his side of the family.
That's a good
like
one.
Other than the ones that I know are consistent and have been there and have believed me, but like when the ones that I'm not too sure about come around and they're trying to say hi to me and build relationships with me, I'm like, like I don't know if I can trust you because we went through so much with the family, like thinking we were lying and not believing us, that I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense, honestly.
What about you, Gail?
For me, as you were talking, I was thinking, I don't think there's anything that I, like, revolving around the situation that I specifically struggle with. I would say maybe my anger at certain moments, but, like, I've gotten really good at just talking to myself nice, like, you know? No, I think so that funny, but it's true. Like, I've gotten really, consistent, persistent, and good at, like, talking to myself kindly, like when I'm going through something or when I'm feeling angry in a moment.
It's okay, Tanisha.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'll be like, yo, you got this.
You just do that.
Yeah. Literally. And
it's okay. Let me pat
I rub
back.
myself.
It's okay.
I rub myself.
It's okay, baby. It's okay.
I just pat myself on the back and say, yo, you're doing a good job, and it's okay to feel down sometimes, but when you feel down, just know that this is not permanent, right? Like before, what I would do is I would like before when I was really trying to heal from this, I was still in the like hardcore healing process. I would go through a moment or like face rejection from someone or something, and I would just go through the state of, wow, I feel really shitty. I feel like such a victim. I feel like I just want to hide. I don't want to be around anyone. But now when I start to feel like that, I quickly try to get myself out of it by saying, yo, you got this. You're everything and more. You're strong. You're a great person. You're a good friend. Did I just talk to myself nice? I try to do that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything I really struggle with other than just my anger, maybe. And that's it. I don't really think about the shit.
I feel like to add on, I know it's at a struggle that we have, but one thing that I can say that's like positive that has come out of it is like our relationship has gotten better. Like we are very close, like we talk about a lot. So I feel like that is like a positive. I also feel like just being able to speak about it now and like help people with what we went through, like I'm happy in a way that we did go through court, because had we not gone through court but had gone through the abuse, I don't think we would be open to talk about it. No. You know what I mean? But
because we would still be in this bubble of feeling like this has to be brushed under the rug. We can't talk about it. We can't let anyone know. But now we're past that, you know? We've gone through the process. We've talked to so many people around us about the situation. I think that's why we're so open now to even do this video. Yeah. A lot of people wouldn't be. But it helps. It helps to talk.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So no, I think that's it. I'm trying to think.
That you struggle. I'm trying to think because I feel like I have struggles. Like there's no way I don't have struggles about the situation right now.
you're just that healed. And that's the thing, like I was talking to you about earlier, is like you get to this point in your healing that you're openly able to talk about it and go through your day without it being the number one thing on your mind.
Yeah.
And it's not to say like we're suppressing it or we're like not
we just went
facing
through
it.
that though. We went through the moments of it always being on our mind. Anytime it would get brought to our attention, we would cry. Like I went through that for such a long time.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like because I always speak on my Instagram about like that balance of knowing when you're healed, and I feel like the knowing when you're healed is when you're able to openly talk about it without getting emotional, but also knowing that like not talking about it is not you like not wanting to face it. But it's just like if someone asks you about it, then okay, you'll talk about it, but you're not gonna just sit here and be like, oh, my dad abused me, oh, so and so, you're not gonna do that. And if you are at that point in stage in your healing process, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's okay to embrace it and accept that that is where you are, and understand that it'll eventually come where that is not your everyday.
Exactly. It'll get better.
Definitely.
I think that's the attitude that people have to remind themselves of, or you're going to get to that point where it's going to get better. You're not going to be here forever. It's just a part of the process. It's a part of the journey, the healing journey.
I think the best way to describe it actually is like, it's similar to a grieving process.
Yeah.
Like it's literally because we had to go through grieving the good parts of our dad. That was the first step. Like we had to grieve the good in him. Yeah. And then we had to grieve like now we don't have a dad.
Yeah.
And then we had to grieve
a brother in the process being taken too.
Yeah, and then our younger brother like was taken away from us in the process of all this. And then we had to grieve like, what like facing that this wasn't normal, and like we have to face it, and now we have to heal. Then we had to deal with court. Like there's stages in it. So I feel like if you're at a stage that is not fun and it's not where you want to be, just understand that it's temporary. It's not forever. And there is some light at the end of the tunnel.
And be gentle with yourself. Don't sit there and feel like this is all your fault. You did this to you, because this is not your fault. This was just a situation that unfortunately you were dragged into. But it doesn't mean that you have to be the victim forever. You're not a victim. You're a survivor, and you're strong, and you're going to get through this. And you're going to be able to sit here one day, maybe not in front of a camera literally, but you'll be able to sit there and be able to help other people along the way, because there's other people that are going through this too that need help and support, right? So it's just temporary. It's just a part of the process.
And I feel like with me, because I've gone through the court system, like I'm able to easily help other people, even just going through court, like not even dealing with childhood sexual trauma
on its own.
Yeah, for sure.
For kids too.
So like to be able to enlighten somebody else about what the court process is like and what they can expect, like that in itself is so empowering for me. And that's where I feel like a lot of my healing lies, like being able to help other people with what I've gone through.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any advice for people who have been in a similar situation as yourself?
We kind of touched on that. But I would say, number one, if this is happening to you and you haven't told anyone yet, tell someone. Definitely talk to someone. If you're a child and you're experiencing this, talk to a parent about it, talk to someone older than you that can help you. If not, go directly to the police yourself. Like, don't keep quiet about this. You don't have to protect whoever did this to you. You deserve justice. So that's number one. Number two, if you've done that already and you're you're at a point where you're trying to heal and stuff, like I said, just be gentle to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. This is not your fault. Forgiveness is key as well. And that's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to forgive. And I think that was like the biggest thing for me too, is during my healing process, I had to say to myself, like, if I don't forgive him, then I'm not going to be able to go through life and be happy, because I'm always going to be holding on to this hurt inside of me that, why would you do that to me, you know? And I would always think to myself, well, I hate this guy. I don't want to go through my life hating someone. At the end of the day, whatever traumas he had as to why he did what he did to us, that's his business. But I don't have to be a part of that, you know? So forgiveness is key. Try to find it within yourself to forgive. It is a process in its own, but you'll get there. And just know that life can get better. Life will get better for you. So just have hope.
Absolutely.
What would you say?
That was good, girl.
Thanks. I try.
I'm going to go more so on the clinical side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Get therapy. Get therapy.
Therapy's a big
therapy, one. Get therapy. Get therapy. Your best friend might be able to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Your boyfriend might be able to talk to you. Your aunt might be able to talk to you. But get an unbiased third party advice or support or help. I've been in therapy since we ended court, and I've had therapists that were not so good, and I've had therapists that have been amazing. And at the end of the day, even that trial and error process, I don't regret going to counseling, going to therapy. Secondly, if you need medication to help you cope with depression, anxiety, there's no shame in it. There's none. It's a temporary thing if it needs to be to help you get you to where you need to get to.
Yeah. It's just a push. It's a boost. Right?
Absolutely. And the other thing I would say too is to just surround yourself with good people. Mm-hmm. So surround yourself with people that are stable-minded, logical thinkers, rational thinkers, so that when you have the moments of needing to open up and speak about what you've gone through, that they can be there to support you. Mm-hmm. Try to understand and recognize that sometimes these topics are very difficult for other people, especially because they might have some trauma that they have not disclosed and are triggered by, your story. But all in all,
they just don't understand.
That too, definitely. Or maybe they just don't understand. So just be gentle with how you're approaching sharing this information, and don't have any expectations. Mm-hmm. Definitely go in seeking the support, seeking the help. If they're not able to give it to you because they don't have the capacity, don't take offense to it. Not everybody can handle this. It's difficult. It's hard. We can barely handle it, and we're going through it.
Exactly.
So just understand that, everybody's different, and the people that do love you and care for you, keep those people around you.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget to love yourself too. I think that's one of the biggest things. And that's why I think therapy is also good too, because it's like I feel like your therapist or your counselor, whoever you're talking to, is going to help you with getting back on track with loving yourself and being kind to yourself. Because as much as we like to say self-love, sometimes it's hard to love yourself through a situation like this. Definitely. You feel so unloved in this situation. You know what I mean? Because the person that did this to you obviously did not care about you, or so you feel, because why would they do this? But you have to take that power back, like you were saying, and put that towards yourself again, right? Like,
definitely.
No, I love myself, and I know that I'm strong, and I know I'm going to get through this, and it might be a process, but I'm going to do it. Like, talk to yourself nice, motivate yourself, and just, that's all I have to say. I don't know why I added that, but I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
And I'm leaving this in the video.
Don't.
Thanks so much for watching our video today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the conversation. I hope that there is something that you were enlightened by, encouraged by, inspired by, and that you can use to help yourselves or help someone that you love and care for. There's so much more to come, so you guys stay tuned. If you haven't done it already, make sure you hit that notification button, subscribe, leave a comment, do all of the good things. If you have questions, leave it in the comments, and then I will follow up in a future video.
Yes. It was a pleasure to be here today with you, sis.
You too!
Oh my gosh!
All right.
That's over.
Bye.
Bye.